So 9 years almost. What would be your advice to someone like Pyfer, who's coming in, the UFC's riding hot on him, he got a big win on Contender, they're promoting him. What would be like your just one bit of advice for him if he's listening to this?
If Pyfer's listening to this, the best advice I could give him is like, 1, drink G Fuel. 2, make sure you have your post-fight speeches ready. And make sure you kind of collect your thoughts, or at least tell people what you want to say. Like have it like maybe in your notes, so you can take a quick look at it, or have people remind you. So when you do win, you can capitalize on those moments, because that TV time is so precious, where people are tuning in to hear what this guy has to say, because now they want to hear you talk. He want to see if you're interesting. They want to see if you have a personality. They want to see what you're about. Is this guy cool? Is he funny? Is he witty? Is he no nonsense, Keith Peterson type of thing?
Yeah.
So you get to express yourself in that moment, and to be able to understand and get your message across, you can quickly capitalize. Even like Conor McGregor, him knocking out Marcus Brimage in his debut was tremendous. But him doing it and then going, Dana, 60 G's, baby, like this, that funny accent, and people just like things like that.
It draws you in.
Charismatic. I'm not saying he needs to be someone he's not, but at least have a message or something like that you stand for, that you are supportive of, and that you want people to know about you, as opposed to like pretending or being some character that you don't want to be. And just maximize the moment, because these fights, they get few and far in between the higher up you get, and the tougher the competition, the less opportunities you're going to have to use those moments, because if you have a loss, obviously you don't get the mic time.
Yeah.
So I would say that, be a student of the game, and treat every fight like it's a title fight, because the moment you don't, you may find yourself woken up in a hospital looking around like, how the hell did I get here? And kind of like Kamaru Usman said on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said Leon Edwards gave him a 20-minute nap.
Wow.
And he ended up pretty much in the hospital. Like, that's pretty much how I felt. I came to, but I didn't come to until I was in the hospital. Like, I was awake, but I wasn't, like, my senses were completely gone. Repeating the same thing, not knowing, all that is completely wiped out. And for you to prevent that from happening, you got to be dialed in, you got to be focused, and you got to treat everyone with respect. You can say whatever you want before the fight, but just know when you get in there, give them that respect, so that you don't go slacking and sleeping on their skills, because it only takes one shot, man. Just one shot.
I have a question kind of to piggy off that. Like, when you lost to Marlon Moraes, you've told me, like, you thought, like, if you had won that fight, you would have gotten a title shot.
100%.
So, like, you got that close, and then you lost, and then you kind of made your way back, and you obviously are the champion now. Like, what did that feel like? Like, how far did you feel from where you wanted to be after that loss? And then how did it feel to get back?
After that loss to Marlon, and that was a devastating knockout, clearly. I think anyone watching that highlight, which I still get tagged in till this day, and I'm just like, you guys make fun of the dumbest things. Like, I'm getting paid, bro. And if anything, that was the turning point in my career that just unwoken the beast, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to use it as an analogy. And I don't like knocking people when they're down, but it's like, look where he is and look where I'm at. It's like, come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about? He knocked me out. He went on to fight for a title. Never looked the same. I got knocked out, came back, battled my way back, and it's just night and day in terms of the performances and where we're at physically and whatever. But after that fight, losing, I knew it was going to be a long road back. And the first fight back was against some undefeated prospect, Brett Johns. Just hit a crazy calf slicer on a guy who submitted me 5 times in like 5 minutes. And Joe Soto. Joe Soto fought TJ Dillashaw on short notice for a world title when I think Brown missed weight. So to put in perspective, this was like 2016 or 2015 when I went out there and trained with them after I made my debut against Cody Gibson. I went out to Visalia, trained with those guys, and Joe Soto tooled me up on the ground. Wow. And I thought I was good on the ground. That guy showed me there are levels. Heel hook, submission after submission, guillotines, everything under the sun. And I realized like there's a different game of level I need to reach in order to get to another place. So when he did that to Joe Soto, I wondered how good is Brett Johns? And I took him so serious. I only sparred like 3 times before that fight because I just got a devastating knockout. And I didn't want to wear my chin down more in hard sparring sessions 2-3 times a week. So I said, if we're going to spar, closer to the fight, and we're going to do less. And I told the guys, I want you to try to hit me, But just know my game plan is to avoid the action and wrestle the entire time. So you can hit me, great. That's a win for you. But my goal is set up the takedowns as clean as I can, take the guy down, just take the fight where I want it to be. And that's what I did. And mentally, to have to battle back from that, I thought I was right back where I was. And then the UFC told me, like, no, you just got knocked, pretty much, you just got knocked out.
Wow.
You beat up one guy who's undefeated, who was also ranked, just finally ranked, I think, after that submission. And they gave me Cody Stamann. So it was another undefeated guy in the UFC, and I'm just like, yo, bro, you giving me all these prospects. I was like, are you serious? He goes, dead serious. That was his text message to me. Dead serious.
Really?
And I was like, the matchmaker. I'll just say the matchmaker.
Okay.
I'm not trying to.
I didn't know if you were saying
Don't out
that.
him.
Yeah.
Why
And, you know,
shut him
we have
up?
a good relationship, but this just goes to show you, like, when you're dealing with these guys, how cutthroat it could be. And it's just, for them, it's just a business, bro. Like, they don't give a shit. They're going to tell you what it is, and that's it. So you got to either be man enough to handle that or woman enough to handle that and just handle your shit. So I was like, I told him, I was like, if I finish him, I want to get back to a ranked opponent, I think, or a top 5 or something like that. And, or I think I might have said something like that, and then jokingly I might have said, like, you owe me a grappling match. And then when I submitted him, I went over to him and I go, you owe me a match or something like that, jokingly. But that just goes to show you, like, after losing that, my confidence started to build back up. Like, you know, I was never broken. I kept it in perspective. I made a mistake. He capitalized on it by doing something that was not even intentional. I got sent to the gulags, but I came back, used it as a learning tool, and then I took on 2 beasts, both undefeated in the UFC. One guy beat a guy that beat me by split decision. The other guy beat a guy who whooped my ass in training sessions. And I bested both those guys. And then the next fight after that, who was it? It was Brett Johns. Then it was Cody Stamann. Then it was Pedro Munoz.
Oh.
And this was a guy who thought he was going to just punk the shit out of me. Talking all the shit. And I have respect for Pedro. We were supposed to train together before, and then it ended up not happening. And then we had a war of bad blood, words of bad blood, or whatever how would you even phrase that? War of bad blood? That doesn't sound right. We had a little bad blood going into that fight because I found out that he popped for PEDs, and I was like, whatever happened with that? And I was asking the question. I was genuinely curious because when I was trolling him, but too, genuinely curious, and I wanted to get in his head a little bit. Maybe it was true. Maybe he was still doing it. I don't know. Because his cardio machine, that guy, he just goes for it nonstop. And when I fought him and I beat him in the striking matchup, and actually it wasn't even him, it was Jimmy Rivera. That was the grudge match. So when I beat Jimmy Rivera, then I got to fight Pedro Munoz, who just knocked out Cody Garbrandt, who just had a crazy performance against Dominic Cruz.
Wow.
So for me to have to fight him, and then this is the guy who just lost to TJ, so he just won the belt, just lost the belt. He only lost to TJ, and then he knocks out Cody Garbrandt, and then I get to fight him. So that was pretty much my returning path. And I fought, like I said, I fought nothing but killers. But that mindset you have to have is just like, I will not be outworked. Fighting these guys anywhere that the fight goes, and just being confident in your skills and your ability. And the main thing is, like the way we train now, man, like leaving no stones unturned. And obviously, as a grappler, it makes it a little bit easier because I do think grapplers kind of dictate the pace of the fight and where the fight's going to be. But knowing and being competent in all the areas of kickboxing, knowing how to properly check a kick or a head kick, that's all super important. And you have to be in a good mental headspace because it's so easy to get broken down when you take a loss. Guys are sending you videos and your DMs. They're commenting nonstop. They're talking shit. They're chirping you. And then people think like just because we're professional fighters, like we're immune to emotion. Like we're emotionless. I'm like, dude, you do realize we still put our pants on the same way you put your pants on every single day. We're not NFL players. We're not MLB players. We don't get millions and millions of dollars where we could just tune this out. We have to actively engage in order to grow a following. We have to actively engage in order to make a presence so that we can get paid more money. Right. These other guys from these other sports, they don't have to do that. They're not burdened with any of those things. So I can understand for these guys, they could just put it on mute and be like, okay, it's cool. I got my millions. I'm good. For us, like I made my couple 100,000, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I got both my checks. Maybe I budgeted enough where I didn't lose the money, or my opponent didn't pull out, or maybe I missed weight. There's so many factors and variables. So when people think like we can just, like it just rolls off of our backs, it really doesn't. So I had a lot of that I had to deal with. But I think when you know who you are, you're comfortable within your own self, you can silence the noise as best as you can and realize that it just is what it is. You got to just make this work for you as much as you can. And there's no easy way to say it. And this is one of the things I really agree with Andrew Tate on. It's just like when they talk about motivation, it's like, what the fuck is motivation? And I 100% agree with that, because there's times where you can be motivated, but it comes and goes. Joe Rogan talks about this as well. It comes and goes. You can be motivated after listening to this, and then 5 minutes later, you go on your phone scrolling on TikTok or IG, and then your motivation is completely gone. You know what I mean? So no matter what your motivation is, even if you don't feel good, you wake up sick, like, you still have responsibilities, and your responsibility is to get up and train, put that work in, give yourself the utmost confidence, so when you do step into the cage on fight night, you're as confident as you could possibly be, no matter how scared you are, how nervous you are. But if you put in the work, you kind of have that working for you as best as it possibly can. I think that's really what it comes down to. Your mental approach has to be almost bulletproof, because people are going to say stuff, and just know that the feelings and emotions you're dealing with, the other person out on the other side of the cage is more than likely dealing with those same exact emotions, and who's going to channel it better to make it work for them, so that they realize, like, you left no stones unturned. Whatever happens, if you perform the way you performed in the training room, that good things can happen for you. And I think that's the best way to put it, to sum it all up. Obviously, this was super long-winded, but hopefully people get some value out of this. And it's easy to get down on yourself, you know? It's harder to stay positive and more motivated. So it's easier to be like, I'm a piece of shit, or I'm not as good as I thought I was. But if you truly believe in yourself and what you're doing, you'll find a way to stay mentally tough and mentally sound, and realize that everyone has bad days where they don't feel good. Everyone has the days where they, you know, like my first fight with Jan. I spoke about that at length, and people still say, oh, you performed so much better from the first fight. You made these proper adjustments. I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I've said this almost ad nauseum, what happened, and I said he was better that day because of what I did. But at the end of the day, you know what's going on. So again, you don't know what's going on with the other person from the other side of the cage. They could be going through the same crazy emotions I felt that same day. But it's who's going to be able to channel that energy better and make it work for them, and go out there and try to impose their will and get the job done.
Wow.
But it's not easy. It's easier said than done, but that's the fight game, man. It's such a mentally, the highs, the lowest lows. Like, even your contender fight, like, how'd you feel after winning and still feeling like you lost at the same time? It's a crazy feeling, because it sucks sometimes.
This is a crazy game. This is the craziest game there is. No type of drug, no type of adrenaline, no roller coasters or bungee jumping can replicate what we go through, you know, especially with all the work we put in, the sacrifice, the injuries. And going off of what you were saying with you know, the motivation comes and goes, I think a bit, and then with the Andrew Tate stuff, I think like a big thing is our why. Like, what drives us, you know, what pushes us. It boils down to discipline. Who's more disciplined, and who follows the routine more, who wakes up, who drinks their water, who trains hard, who leaves it all out there and works with purpose. And I think fighting is a metaphor for life and for just everything else you do. Like, if someone's successful in fighting, they could go be successful in real estate, like Al Iaquinta, or someone could go be successful in corporate America. And it's just a mentality, it's just a state of mind more than anything. Nothing separates us, someone like Aljo, from me, from you. It's just really mentality, is what I believe. Going off of what you were saying.
There's a kid named Kaleo Abija. He actually trains at Extreme Couture, Hawaiian kid. Fights at 135, also a good switch stance striker. I got to spar with him. He was my TJ Dillashaw last weekend. And we were talking. It was like, you know, he never been to the PI. I'm like, damn, you got all these fuckers in the UFC, and none of these guys taking you over to the PI to come train. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand what that's on about. And then the other thing, he was like just telling me how appreciative he was of me just including him in camp. He was like, I never even thought the day that I would be in camp with a UFC champion, let alone someone as high caliber, whatever. So he's saying these stuff, and I'm just like, yo, bro, I'm just like you, bro. The same exact things you're saying, and you're going through like these experiences. I was there. I remember that. I remember being in a room with John Jones. I remember being in a room with all these other high-level pro guys, and then you realize, like, yo, man, these guys are literally the same as me. The difference is the work that you put in, and I think that motivation, like you were saying, I think consistency and discipline, those are the recipes for success. I think discipline and consistency, no matter how tired you are, if you're consistent, it gets easier. As long as you get up and you get it done, and you stay at it. What do they say? It takes like 30 or 60 days for you to continuously do something before it becomes a habit.
I think it's like 3 weeks. Yeah,
They say 21 days.
21 days. So you got to be consistent. And then even if you don't like right now, we're going to have to go run sprints. You think I'm chilling right now? I'm kind of super relaxed. I'm like, I don't want to go run no sprints right now, but I do know it's going to be money in the bank if I go out there and I do it and I give my 100% effort as best as I can. And that's consistency and that's discipline, because I can just go through the motions and just run it like, I did it. But then if you give 100% effort, Ray Lewis shit, that's another level. That's you trying to ascend to the next tier that you could possibly get to.
Right.
As you can for yourself.
I believe that.
YouTube, IG, Facebook, everyone, Uber, do not block us. Do not censor this shit. Motherfuckers. We love y'all. Shit, we ain't saying nothing bad.
Fucking but the crazy part is too, like, you gotta have that, like, just from what I've seen a lot of like the up and coming guys at Law and stuff, like, they gotta work like you two, but like there's no guarantee that anything good will come from it.
That's
outside of them
thing.
being in good shape. Like, they have to. It's like not like when you go to college, there's a degree at the end of 4 years.
Yeah, man.
You gotta fucking take that risk and work like the same way if you want to get those same results.
This is a game. It's literally, sometimes I feel like a game of roulette or a game of hope. You're rolling the dice every day that you put time into the sport, because it don't pay you shit in the beginning.
Yeah.
You have to have the passion. You have to just love it. You have to just want to do it, and you have to make the sacrifices that are necessary to give yourself the best opportunity to even give yourself a chance to get to this spot.
But that's a life lesson too.
Yeah. And just anything in life that you do may never work out.
Right.
You may think you got the craziest idea and it may never work out. But the fact that you got up and you tried, that should be enough for you to be able to sleep at night. Like, I gave it everything I had, and only you know if you really did that. And I think that's, like you said, that's what life's all about. And I'm 33 now, man. I feel like when I see people that don't go out and try, and they don't apply themselves, or they don't want to take a risk because they're scared of failure, that bothers me the most, because I'm just like, then what else is your goal and your purpose in life? Like, I'm not saying you need to have a goal of, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to be this famous person, but you should have some type of drive that makes you wake up in the morning, because we're not kids anymore, where it's like we're just getting up because our parents tell us to when we go to school. We're not going through that system anymore. You get to this point, you're out of school. Now it's like, what next?
Dude, that's like what I'm going through in life right now, because I'm 21. I'm like, I keep having this realization, like, I'm never going to be a kid again. Like, I'm an adult now, and I have to just go for the things I want to go for.
Can't feel sorry for yourself.
And if you have something you want to do, like you said, you just have to, like, do it, see if it happens. If it doesn't, pivot, but it'll lead to more good things, I think.
Yeah.
If you just go for things you have an interest in going for.
Like, what is failure? Failure is like, that means you actually got up and you tried.
Yeah. I think failure is quitting.
It's just when you stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Failure is
I think it's failure and quitting to me are two different things. You could start a business and you could fail at it. That doesn't mean you quit. You know what I mean? Like, say you open up a business, you open up a mom and pop shop or a barber shop, and it failed. Maybe the business model wasn't correct, but you can always try that again. Right. But if you quit at that, then I think you failed. But if you take what you learned from that and then put it into the next thing because you're so determined to be an entrepreneur, then you didn't really fail. You just had a setback. Like, you didn't fail when you got knocked out by Marlon Moraes. You just had a setback. If you had quit, then that would be a complete failure. Yeah. But now you're the champion because you kept going and you, like, changed your ways. And it was a what would you call it? It was a setback for a major comeback.
Yeah.
One of those cheesy ass lines.
Yeah. I just believe if you keep going, you go with it, whatever the fuck you want, 100% every fucking day, and you believe in it, and you just, one way or another, a door will open up where you get to where you want to be. It's just like, if you just keep going, it's like just a game of probability. It's just in my eyes. Like, if you just keep going, like, I won on Contender. I fought the first time, I lost, didn't get signed. I won just now, didn't get signed. Am I going to quit? Am I going to give up and say, oh, fuck, the UFC doesn't want me, or I'm not going to make it in the sport? No. Keep fucking going. Keep working hard. Work even fucking harder. Come back and show these motherfuckers why I belong in the UFC, speaking on myself personally. And then just keep going. So same thing. If you get set back in life with whatever it is, just keep fucking going, and eventually the day will come where the door opens, and whatever you want, as long as you keep pursuing it, the door will open and you'll get where you want to be. I just believe that's such a metaphor. Like, fighting is such a metaphor for life, and this is the hardest paycheck to earn, man.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. Like,
There's
there's
much
nothing
easier
else.
ways to earn a paycheck.
Yeah, oh yeah. I go open a pizzeria, bro, make some good money, you know. Yeah.
I could have been a gym teacher and making over 6 figures when I started fighting, graduating out of college.
Wow.
Within probably 5 or 6 years, I would have been tenured like 3 years in already, and I would have probably had benefits. No, I would have had benefits, and I would have been making over 6 figures already.
No injuries.
No injuries.
Yeah.
Fucking 9 to 5 lifestyle.
That's in New York. So it's for people that are going to be like, what teacher job? Shut the fuck up, bro. Do your fucking research. I'm from fucking Long Island, bro. We started, like, Uniondale High School was starting at $56,000, and that was back in, like, 2012, bro. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So what are we
That's a
talking
great
about?
salary.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
That was
But New
started.
York's expensive, though. New York's very expensive.
Of course. You know, so like we said, like, we do this because we love it, and there's a reward that maybe one day you can be the guy who's in, I guess, the position I'm in, or in the position of a Izzy. Like, we all think we could be UFC champions. Doesn't mean we're all gonna be, but you aim for that, and then
Right.
you know, you aim for the moon, land on the clouds, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to land on. Like, you just aim high, man. Keep the aspirations high, and you'll get close to it, or close enough. And I think that's what's most important. Like, the fact that I'm even here, like, I could retire today and I'm good, bro. Like, I did everything I wanted to accomplish in terms of combat sports and sports in general, and I can live and sleep peacefully at night. But yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's just just the
like
way
crazy though
yeah.
to think about.
Yeah, I'm happy.
You know, it's crazy to think about, like, even Tyson Fury, you know, his Mount Everest was, oh, my knees just popped. His Mount Everest was beating Klitschko. And then after that, he felt lost. You know, he had all the money, world champion, young. You'd think, like, looking from the outside in, this guy has everything he possibly wanted. But then after that, it's like he conquered the biggest thing he wanted to conquer. He fell into a major depression. You know, so it's always like, like, again, going back to what's your why? What do you want out of everything? You know, what fulfills you? What gives you fulfillment? So I think that's just something people need to answer. I don't really know what my point is with all that, but, like, just got to keep working hard, man. And just go after it.
We wake up every day, we do the same shit every day. But what makes it, like, okay for you? Like, of course it's going to be boring and monotonous sometimes, but there's a why, man. There's, like,
Something drives
keeps
us.
yeah, something keeps you going. Something keeps you revolving with the sun. Every time it goes around, sun goes down, comes back up. There's got to be something that makes you feel some type of purpose, whether it's not, like, even if you're a bum, like, they're still like, obviously living for a reason, where they haven't committed suicide or some crazy shit like that, and, you know, knock on wood, but they have fulfillment where they're probably, like, say they're just happy at peace, that they could live however they want to live. They don't give a shit. Like, something that's going to make you okay, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's teaching kids, or, you know, I don't know, psychology or whatever it is, like, whatever you're happy with. There's nothing wrong with being a construction worker. There's nothing wrong with doing any of those things, as long as it's fulfilling for you, whether it's just taking care of your family, giving your kids an opportunity to do things that you never had. Like I said, like, I could lose my next few fights and get cut, and that's okay for me, bro. Honestly. And honest to God, I'm okay with that, knock on wood. But I'm just saying, like, things happen in life. Like, it's life. Right. Like, you're never going to always be... Like, the roller coaster doesn't always just go up, bro. Eventually, that roller coaster has to come down at some point, and I know this. I'm just trying to make sure I do the best job that I possibly can, where I can live with myself and not go home and go, damn, if I had just did X, Y, and Z. I don't want to live with no regrets like that.
Right.
I just want to go out, do it, give it my all, and then whatever happens, happens. That's just life.
Yeah. It's just like, in life you get opportunities, and it's just about making sure you take them and do the most with them that you can.
Wow, this has been a very deep podcast. I hope a lot of people take a lot of messages out of this, from you to me to Jake and everything, like, and apply it to their own lives and in their own selves, and just whatever their journey is.
That ass. No cappuccino. Other than that, drink G Fuel, and